Hello and welcome back to another episode of the BTS Creative Academy podcast. Episode 6 or 7 or 8, I'm not too sure. I'm starting to lose count. I'm having so much fun. Anyway, let's jump straight to it. In this episode, I'm going to be having a chat with a good friend of mine, Tony Silver. Now, Tony considers himself to not be a creative, so I had to talk him into sitting down with me on this podcast because I believe that he is a creative. So let's find out. Let's see if we can answer that question. Is Tony a creative?
I should probably give you one gift before we start.
Before we start?
Yeah.
You don't have to be part of
Because
it.
I got two. I think I should give you one before.
Right, okay.
It's something I knocked out last night.
Oh, man.
3D printed.
No, lovely. The Creative Academy. No, this is part of the podcast.
I did have the BTS thing, but it kept fucking up.
Oh, okay.
But,
And it's in that you've got the font and everything.
Yeah, I did a reverse font search.
Right, can that go on there?
Ain't gonna sit, is it?
Can I get it on there without it?
Yeah, it won't fuck up.
Fuck up the mouse. No, that's perfect.
No, that's why I thought I'd give you that
lovely.
beforehand.
Yeah. Right, headphones on. Are you ready for love?
Howdy.
Okay, let's begin.
Okay.
So, Tony, welcome to the Creative Academy podcast.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure, mate.
It's
Been looking forward to this.
It's been a long time coming.
Yeah, you were like one of the first people up on my list. Who am I going to get in on my podcast? It's going to be Tony Silver.
Oh, I appreciate that.
So, what have you been up to?
9 to 5, working my butt off,
Okay.
paying the bills.
What's the 9 to 5?
IT system administrator, stroke manager, even though I don't really have a great deal to manage.
Okay.
Yeah, been doing it for about 20 years. Pretty good at it. Not my dream job. But yeah, like I said, pays the bills.
What does it involve?
Overseeing network infrastructure in businesses.
Okay.
Just making sure the cogs are greased and the wheels are turning.
Yeah.
Looking after the users when they forget to plug their mouse in and whatnot.
Yeah. Turn it off, turn it on again.
That's it.
Reboot it.
I've literally got a t-shirt.
How many times a day do you have to say that?
2 at least.
At least 2 times a day.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And so what else are you doing then? So you've got your normal 9 to 5, but something I know about you is you've always got something else going on.
Yeah, I'm a tinkerer.
Yeah.
And I like playing with toys.
Okay.
Of the electronic variety. Bit of a self-confessed geek, always have been, as you know.
Yes.
So at the moment, I'm kind of into 3D printing. That's my, used to be games, still is a little bit. But, 41 next week, actually this week, so kind of need to grow up a little bit.
Why?
Well, I don't know really. But
Like
but now I'm not playing games, I'm printing toys
Okay.
and models.
Okay, tell me about these toys.
Well, it harkens back to when I was a kid. I used to love building the old Airfix models and painting them and all that kind of schnizzle. So yeah, with a 3D printer, you can print whatever you want.
How does a 3D printer work? I'm pretty clueless.
So
what in essence?
There's two varieties. There's ones that print on plastic spool, like a reel of plastic, a spool of it, and there are ones that use liquid resin. I haven't messed around with the resin ones yet because they're messy and chemicals and a bit nasty. But yeah, the one I've got, I've actually got 2 now. Upgrade.
Why would you go with that resin one? If it sounds messy.
It gives a little bit of a cleaner finish, smoother. I think they're a little bit quicker, but I don't hold me to that. I think mainly people use resin for smaller, like tabletop miniatures, because they can pack a lot more detail into a smaller print.
Right.
But that's not something I'm interested in at the moment. So yeah, the one I've got is plastic. You put a reel into it, and it feeds into the printer, and it literally melts the plastic, but incredibly, extremely small diameter. So I mean, you can print things like that, layer by layer.
Yeah.
It prints one layer, starts on the next layer, and just builds the model up like that.
Okay. And so you create the design yourself somehow?
Yeah, that one I did. It's pretty basic. That one. It's just characters You get software called a slicer, and it's basically like CAD, like 3D CAD modeling. Whatever you create on screen, you click the print button, and it hopefully comes out.
Right, okay. So what else are you creating on there? Have you got anything else that you're making?
Yes.
You said toys. Are you making toys with this thing?
Yes. About 2 months ago, I thought, I wonder if I could print a picture. So I thought, well, if I print a picture on the print bed and try and peel it off, it's just going to fall apart. So what I did is I bought some really thick, like high grade paper. Can't think of the word. Anyway, like the kind of like thick paper.
Card.
Yeah, it's not card though. It's got like a high,
right.
I think GSM.
Yeah,
GSM, like high gram, whatever.
Yeah, the highest you can go before turning into card.
Yeah, and I thought, let's put that down on the print bed and print onto that. And at first I thought, oh Christ, it's going to set fire to the bloody thing, but it didn't. And anyway, I printed this picture of Frankenstein out, just like a stencil, an outline. It came out brilliantly. And I thought, that's great. How can I improve this? How can I make that better? And then just by chance, I stumbled across some new software. Just some guy in America basically turns any sort of JPEG or PNG, a digital image, basically, drop it into this new program, and it creates a 3D model out of the flat image. So what it does is it puts channels and depth into the image. So it kind of, all the details kind of raised and pops. So I thought, let's give that a go, and downloaded it, tested it. It was fantastic. It's a picture of our dog, mine and my wife's dog. I thought, this is fantastic. Right? I can see real potential with this. I've seen things similar before, but like kind of 3D image of it, not 3D printed. So I thought, let me get in touch with this guy and see whether he'd let me use this software to try and make some money, like a side hustle.
Why wouldn't you be able to do that?
Because I'm not a programmer.
Okay.
I'm not a developer. I know how to fix things that don't work. I'm not very good with creating software. I know how to mend broken software, but I'm not a developer, and I wouldn't know how to begin with something like this. I'll give him a shout out. It's called the software is called Hue Forge, as in HUE, like Philips Hue, colour. So I got in touch with the guy and said, can I sell anything I make, like, as long as it's copyright infringement, And he said, here you go, here's a commercial license, it's 15 quid a year or whatever. And I bought the software, and yeah, I set up like a little mini company, just to sell the prints through to friends and family, and it's kind of kicking off a bit.
How does that feel that it's taken off? So it's taken off pretty quickly, hasn't it? Like you launched, I saw your Instagram, you launched it, you're on Etsy.
Yes. I only launched the Etsy store about a week ago. I've only had a few sales on that, but you've
had sales though. You've not just put something there and it's disappeared.
No, through like word of mouth, through friends and family. I've sold about 50 prints so far.
Wow.
Which is great. It's an amazing feeling. But hopefully, the best thing with it is I have zero expectations. I'm not relying on this for income. It's just a bit of fun,
Yeah. A bit of fun that'll bring in income.
Yeah.
Side hustle.
Yeah. I mean, at the moment, it's paying for the actual material, the filament. It's it's paying for that, which is great because obviously it means I don't have to pay to build my toys.
Yeah.
And my models.
Okay. So you've managed to create this business that is fun to do. That you enjoy doing.
Yep.
It's bringing you an income.
Yep.
And you've got this additional thing of the thing that you enjoy, the toy making as well. You can do that.
Yeah, it kind of feeds into that. So it's good fun.
So, is there any sort of advice that you'd give to anyone that was looking to do something like this? Is this something that anyone could do?
Absolutely.
Or it is.
It's not something I would love to say to you. I've copyrighted it. It's patented. This is mine. Don't touch it. But it's commercial software. Anyone can do this.
Right. Okay.
My advice: find something that's a bit niche, I suppose, and something you enjoy doing, something you love, and roll with it.
Yeah.
If you can find a way to make some passive income via it, brilliant.
And income-wise, so that's all through Etsy. Is that the hope?
I'm hoping it will be. Like I said, at the moment it's just a little trickle. I think it will kick off a bit closer to Christmas. That's my hope. And I think once people start reviewing what they've bought, that helps, because I know personally, as a retail customer or online shopper rather, reviews is what make me choose to go with this person rather than that person.
Right. Okay. So you'd appreciate any feedback.
Yeah.
If people bought one of your products.
Mm-hmm.
So what would someone do? Send a photo to you, and then you would do something with that photo?
Yes. So on the store, you basically, I have a listing and a blurb. It tells you exactly what to do. There's 2 steps really. Choose what size you want: small, medium, large. Because the printer has it's not an infinite size you can print. It's the bed is sort of finite size. I think off the top of my head, it's like 256 by 256 by 256. So I can only do a maximum of, I'd say, I think it's around 8 inches squared.
Okay.
So yeah, you choose small, medium, large. Check out, send me a picture. I'll have a look at it, and then I'll send you a rough approximation of what the image will look like once it's printed. And if you're happy, go ahead. I'll print it. I'll put it in the post. That's that.
Done.
Yeah, I've got one for you actually.
Okay, let's have a.
Yeah, do you want to have a little looky?
Yeah.
I can't think, where did I put my bag of tricks? Here we go. That's how they come.
Oh, when you say for me, you actually mean for me?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
Oh, this is really sweet. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, do you know? So first of all, let's discuss first of all the imagery here, because this is a podcast, so
yeah.
So not everyone will see the 3D printed photo you've given me is a picture of me and you over the years.
I think it was all taken one.
It does is all on one evening.
It was one evening, and it was at King Do Noodle Restaurant in Harlow, and
we're looking rather flirtatious with each other.
Yes, I think we'd had too much plum wine at that point.
We'll hold that there, and hopefully, if you're watching on the video cast,
I believe it was in
2015. Now, what you can't quite get from seeing a photo online from seeing any Instagram post, is the detail and the depth within the photo. And if you hold it straight on, that's just a normal photo.
Yes.
But as soon as you twist the angle, you're like, hold on a minute.
And that's what this Q4 software does. It creates depth and channels. So not all pictures are perfectly suitable. Most are. But for example, if you sent me a picture of a beige dog on a beach, it's not going to make a good 3D print.
Right.
Because it's flat.
It's bland.
Yeah. You need good contrast of light and dark, and anything that has detail in it. It's a good one. It came out well.
It is. It's a really good one.
Yeah. And that's why I chose that slogan, "Photos you can feel," because it's not bullshit. You can literally.
Can I take it out of the
course you can.
case? Yeah.
It's yours.
And so business techniques. Do you know what I really like about what I like about this? Thank you sticker.
Yeah. Thank you for supporting
You're
my
not just
business.
sending a product off. You're appreciating your customer for purchasing something.
Precisely. I mean, I'm hoping. Well, not really hoping, but Etsy is a boutique. Most of the sellers on there are small businesses that make handmade things. Yeah.
That's rather special. That is.
Yeah, I think I've got something. To be honest, I mean, I can't take the credit because I didn't design the software that does this.
No, and it's not something that anyone can do. In that, for me to have a photo, like a family photo up on my wall, I'm not going to invest in a 3D printer. No, and all the equipment.
There's a large entry to market. You need the printer. You have to you have to give it maintain it. Sorry. You have to buy the filament. You need to know a bit basic troubleshooting, because these things do go wrong and do jam, and
it's lovely.
Yeah. And the back. Look at the back.
Oh, the back. Tell me about that.
That is like a carbon fibre print. It's not something I printed on there.
Right.
Basically, the printer bed that that everything actually the plastic gets laid on has that effect, and somehow it just burns into the back of anything you make. But I think it's a really nice effect.
That's a really good start-up side hustle you've got going on there. And you can always, you get a good feeling for it in the early days, don't you?
Yeah.
If it's going in the right direction.
Well, might just stay there. If you don't breathe,
don't move.
There we go. That definitely will fall at some point. Yeah, I like I said earlier, the first one I printed was of our dog Dexter, and I gave it to my mum and stepdad, who absolutely adore it, and they were blown away by it. I thought they'd think, oh, this is cool, but they were like really taken back by it.
It's a completely different way to share your photos, and we've become so used to just seeing a photo on a screen on Instagram, Facebook, whatever. Whereas it's strange. Like in my home, we still have photos up on the wall.
Yep.
But you don't have there's not as many photos as there were 20 years ago.
And the thing is, especially doing what I do for a living, digital photos go missing. They get lost. Yeah. They get deleted. You change phones. You lose your phone. You forget to back it up. I think me and you are probably of that generation where we're quite lucky. I know I am, that I have a 40-year-old envelope full of photos from the 80s and 90s of me as a kid. Granted, they're a bit faded now, but I've got that. I think kids nowadays, when they're our age, they won't have that, clearly, because I think half of their baby pictures will be on iPhones that went in the skip 30 years ago. So I think there is something about physical media still.
A physical thing. And the nice thing with that is it's not going to get damaged like a photo gets damaged.
No, it won't. One sort of not negative at all, but basically the plastic it's made out of is called PLA. Now, don't ask me the actual scientific name of what that is. It's some kind of polymer, but it's made from corn husk. It's completely biodegradable. It won't biodegrade on its own. It has to break it down. It's through a chemical process. But yeah, it's natural. It's not going to hurt the planet. It's completely bio-friendly. If you left it in a hot car in 30-degree heat, it might start warping. That's the only kind of proviso, I suppose. But
I'm really proud of you, Tony.
No, I appreciate that.
I say, over the years, I've seen you do a few different sort of side hustle type things. We could go for as far back as
that which shall not be named.
Demand flicks.
Yeah.
No, let's name it. Let's put it out there.
Monkey spotting, which is still on YouTube.
Let's start with demand flicks before we go monkey spotting. So demand flicks. Now I feel like my memory of this is we were having a conversation one night and we were like, why isn't the world this way? Why isn't the world of entertainment the way we want it?
I ask myself that daily.
But at that time, it was very much like we could see that what the internet could be used for, and it was beginning to be. Netflix had just come along, and
was Netflix?
Yes, Netflix was there.
Netflix did start, as a DVD post rental,
but
they were streaming at that
They
point.
were streaming at this point because it was like, why is there only Netflix?
Yeah.
Why aren't there others? This is madness.
Was this before Amazon?
It was pre-Amazon. Yeah. It was pre all the rest joining on. And so I remember we had this conversation of like, surely we should be able to get the films we want when we want them.
Yeah.
Because the internet can provide that service. So we tried to set up our own website, which would stream on demand individual titles like box office.
Yes.
In a kind of a way of doing it on reflection was
wrong,
complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah. And consumers want ease. They don't want any mathematical equations to work out how to purchase something. They want to go, right, that cost £5. I'm done.
I think the idea on paper was good, but in practice it was flawed.
Yes. But the thing is, we gave it a shot.
Yeah, we tried. Made a bloody good video.
We made a video to seek funding.
Yeah.
We reached out to all the distribution companies to try and get them on board, and they were having none of it because they want to control. They want at that time they very much want, and they still probably do. They wanted to control the market. And this idea of ours would have completely disrupted the market.
It would have.
And I think the only way we could have pushed forward is if we had huge funding.
Yeah, we would have needed massive collateral behind us.
Not, even because we tried Kickstarter, didn't we?
I believe so. I can't.
Yeah, we popped it on Kickstarter, and I think we were trying to get like 10,000. But really, in reflection, we'd have needed like 100 times that.
Yeah, we would need 10 million.
10 million.
Even from to like raise an eyebrow, I think.
So we were young and naive and hopeful, and
I'm still young.
Yeah, yeah, and still naive.
True.
And still hopeful. We gave it a go, didn't we? And we learnt some lessons from that.
If you don't give it a go, you can't bitch when it doesn't work.
And it's like with this podcast. And I feel on reflection of all the things that I try and like dabble with these things a bit like I'm playing, like a game, like, and without fear of what could go wrong, because there are so many things that could go wrong.
Yes. I think I'm like that, like you, in that way, in the sense of I'm a fidgeter. I can't sit still. I love movies. I love TV. I love, spending my time sitting on my arse. But I have to have some kind of project on the go, something to do, keep me focused, something to work on, something to do with my hands. Like I need just a project. I need to be kept busy, mind, body, and soul. I used to be able to sit there and play, Xbox for 5 hours at a weekend. Now I can't. A few hours and I'm done with games, and I want to do something creative.
You want to be creating something,
exactly. Yeah, it's the creative.
What do you think? Because even when we fail at these creative things, like I have over the years, I've had creative failures. Why do you think we still continue to push forward?
Good question. Because we strive to do better, I guess. And that age-old saying: if at first you don't succeed, try and try again.
I would like to think that for me it's within the process.
Exactly.
Rather than the end goal.
There's no such thing as failure. You learn from every mistake you make. And like I said, that's how we improve, that's how we get better, that's how we overcome problems.
Because if we did just live in the failure, we wouldn't experience anything anymore, would we?
Do you know, I was watching the Arnold documentary a couple of weeks back, and I was looking forward to it, and I thought, I love his movies. He's a real character, and I got so much more out of it than I thought. Like I was kind of aware of his, I've been around. Like I said, I love his film. I was aware of his successes, but just how much that guy had it rough to begin with, and what he's accomplished is absolutely incredible.
Because we often only see one side to people, don't we?
Yeah.
Through, especially people as big as him.
Yeah.
We see the side through the media and through him selling his products, his films.
Yeah.
We see that.
Oh, yeah, he is a brand.
He is a brand. His name is a brand. We all know who we're talking about when we say Arnold.
Yeah.
We don't even need to say his surname, do we?
No.
He is a brand. He is a product, and he's being sold, and so we see this highly successful person, don't we? And he has had a successful life in some measures, but in other measures he has had difficulties and and upsets, and we don't necessarily see that. So then we take that, just seeing someone else is out there doing so well. Yeah, I'm struggling.
But like you just said, you don't see his. I mean, you do see some of his failures, but I'm sure he's had a lot more failures that no one will ever know about, other than him and his, family and close friends or whatever. You publicise what you achieve, not what they don't achieve.
Yeah.
But he was a millionaire. I didn't know this. I love the documentary. Like, he invested in property. I think before he was even super famous at bodybuilding, he was already a millionaire. Like, way before that, starting to act. And see, I never knew that.
I don't think anyone can be like, again, Arnold Schwarzenegger. We were given this perception that he was a bodybuilder, he was an actor, he was a politician. We get this perception that someone is one thing, but actually we need to be like, have these multiple things, don't we?
Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
That's it. It's really, really quite interesting, isn't it? The people that we look up to and that we admire, and when we find out that they've got some vulnerabilities, we sometimes even admire them a little bit more than we did beforehand.
Yeah, I think so. It shows that you're human, as we all are.
Is there anything within the stuff that you do that you particularly look up to and admire with that kind of thing.
In sense of,
in the sense of the way that you're creative and that that you're quite entrepreneurial and.
Not that I can think of, to be honest. Harken back to what I said earlier. I just like to be kept busy, even if I'm not successful. I don't do anything I do to be successful. I do it because it makes me happy and feel sort of content, I suppose. I'm kind of easy to please.
Yeah.
I'm kind of happy with my life. Sure, I wish I had it a bit better financially, as we all do. But I'm kind of content. I like my friends. I like, I've got an amazing family. My wife's family is amazing. Quite like my job. I wish for better, sure, and I'm trying to do better. But I am a content kind of person. I'm very grateful for what I have, because I know a lot of people that don't have what I have.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, not necessarily anyone I know, but I'm just spitballing, always think, oh, I wish I had that, Not necessarily jealousy, just wanting more, and I want more, but I'm very grateful and aware of what I have got. And I think knowing what you have got is more important than knowing that what you do want, if that makes sense.
A good grounding and a good foundation.
Yeah, grounded. What about yourself? Redirect.
Yeah. Redirect. Throw that back at me. I think a lot of that comes from the core of that. Yeah, there are some people out there, famous people that may have got some inspiration from, but I think the core for me always goes back to my parents. Yeah, very blessed and lucky with the type of upbringing that I had. I know that it's extremely rare to have had good parents, which
it's a sad state of affairs.
I was quite naive to that, because I did have such a good, strong upbringing, and they had their struggles and things to overcome, but they always overcame them. I think they gave me a good foundation for that kind of thing.
I think that's all you can do for your children. I don't, disclaimer, I don't have children, as you know, but I think that's the best way to go about making them grateful for what they have, because there are a lot of kids that don't have jack.
Yeah. And these days it's very easy, isn't it? So there's a lot of spoiled kids out there that are just given everything.
Yeah, I know a few of them.
And as those kids grow up,
it can't do them any favours.
No,
it can't.
So changing the subject. Films.
I like films.
Seen any good films recently?
What did we watch the other night? We did. This isn't necessarily a good film.
Go on.
It's just one that's popped in my head. We watched the new Insidious.
Okay.
The Red Door.
Right.
It was okay.
Yeah. Because you're into your horror.
Love my horror films.
Your horror is the
horror and science fiction. I like all movies. Not so much some of the modern agenda movies. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
With an agenda, should I say? But yeah, horror and science fiction are kind of my go-to.
Yeah. So what do you feel about a movie? Let's deal with that first. What do you feel about a movie that is driving an agenda?
It pisses me off, because I think there's a medium for that, for driving agendas, but I don't think it should be entertainment. Personally, that's my gut fit. I mean, if I went away and sat and thought about this,
which is what we're doing here.
I might, this is a gut reaction. I don't want to have an agenda shoved down my throat when I've got a bucket of popcorn and a Pepsi in my hand. I want to be entertained.
Okay.
I don't want to have to, think about the real world too much.
Do you think there's room to? Because even if you think back to some popcorn films, I feel when we were younger, some films, big Hollywood blockbusters, may have an agenda within it, but it was hidden very well within the story.
Social satire, I'm fine with. Undertones, overtones, fine. But I'm specifically mean, like, I want to use examples that I'm not good at. Just modern movies that try and push a modern agenda. I just get some nerves.
Yeah.
Like social satire, I think is fine. Night of the Living Dead, George Romero in general. Pretty much every 80s horror director has a social overtones. undertones.
Yeah, and that was there was an enjoyable and almost peaceful way to enjoy the medium of film. Whereas recent years, we could even go with like Marvel, for instance.
Yeah.
Marvel have completely sacrificed story for agenda. So Marvel was hugely entertaining up until a point, and yes, there was an agenda or a message within the films before, and it talked about equality, and it talked about.
I can tell you who's to blame for that.
Yeah, go on then. Who's to blame? Disney. Yeah.
They have shit the bed.
Yeah.
Well, they have.
So it's got to the point where someone that loves Marvel, that grew up with Marvel.
Same.
Marvel was Marvel taught me to read
and Star
picking
Wars
up comics. Yeah, Star Wars gave me my love for film and for sci-fi, and now
I hate it all.
Sorry.
Now I hate it.
Yeah, because there's no story now. Now you're watching a political message.
They've rinsed it. Yeah, they've literally milked the cow.
You're watching their agenda now.
Yeah.
And why would we do that? Why would we give our time to listen and absorb their agenda? We won't, because we're older and experienced and we understand what they're doing. But what about younger generations? What do you think they're taking from it? Do you think they're going with whatever Disney want them to believe?
Yes. Like I said earlier, don't have kids, but...
And we're not necessarily saying the message is always wrong.
No.
We're just saying
they've zapped any sense of wonder out of these products, because it's just a rinse, cycle, repeat farm. It's just a factory that craps out anything with Star Wars or Marvel or what's the other big franchise, big IP they've got? Fox, isn't it Fox?
Yeah, they've now got Fox. So one corporation pretty much owns.
They've monopolised.
The entertainment industry. Yeah. And within every product they're giving us, tells us what they want us to believe and feel.
Yeah.
I think.
Like I said, it takes away what made Star Wars special, what made the early Marvel films special.
And there was some really important messages within those films.
The first Iron Man, come on. That is still one of my favourite superhero films, like modern superhero films.
Do you think film can continue to go this way? Film, television, do you think it can continue?
No, because I guess it's like fashion. Things come and go. This is failing for them. They're hemorrhaging hundreds of millions of dollars. And don't get me started with this Snow White movie that's coming out.
What's happening with the Snow White movie?
Well, you kind of led me onto this. You sent me a screenshot of a lady dressed as Snow White and a picture of what I assumed were meant to be the 7 dwarfs, but they were not dwarfs. And I said, that's fake. That's not real. He said, no, it's real. It's real. Straight away, onto YouTube. My go-to guy for this kind of thing is the Critical Drinker. I don't know if you ever watched him. If you haven't, you will.
Yeah, I will do that.
And it's real. And I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Turn something, a classic, one of the most important, arguably one of the most important animated films of all time. The thing that, I think it was Disney's first ever movie.
It was. Yeah.
And they've made it something it's not. It's not about, there was an interview, I can't think of the actress's name. She said, our film's not about Snow White finding true love. It's about her feeling empowered as a woman. And it's just the same old shit that Disney are doing to every other product. I'm just sick of it. What is wrong with first of all, don't remake Snow White. Second of all, I'm not going to get into the whole not casting dwarves and all that nonsense, because that's for each individual to decide whether that's right or wrong. That's not my place to talk about it. But just don't remake a classic. And if you are, be faithful. Have the balls to adapt it how it was.
Is there anything to be said for a story being retold? Should a story be the same forever?
No.
Or should we have just new stories all the time?
Depends on the original. I think if something's worth being remade, let's put it this way: if a good story is made badly the first go around, sure, have another go. If the story's good and it's there, but the actual film or song or whatever piece of medium is done poorly, it's not. It doesn't mean trash that. It means let someone else have a go. Like the Thing, the original Thing from the 19. Oh Christ,
John Carpenter.
Yeah.
How do you not?
No.
Oh, the original.
Thank you. A Thing.
Sorry, I apologise.
From Another World. I'm trying to think of the year. I think it was the. Oh Christ, I'm going to get this wrong. I'm going to have people really angry at me.
Because you should know this. Like, as a movie geek, as particularly when it comes to horrors, this should be like 101 education.
I'm feeling it's 50s, so I'm going to say 1950s. Within that decade, amazing story. Film's okay, but then Carpenter come along. You know,
I wonder if your friend Paul is listening to this. He's going to have a go at you for not knowing it.
He's going to wring my neck if I got that wrong. I'm pretty sure it's the 50s. Yeah. Pretty sure. But anyway, yeah. So amazing story. Film was okay, but it was early. There wasn't, special effects stuff. So Carpenter, a few decades later, saw that story based on the book Who Goes There much earlier, and thought, right, amazing story, let's change it. And it's a completely different film, but it's a proper adaptation. It's been adapted. It's not been fundamentally changed. The plot is still the same. There's a monster in the Arctic base, but he's taken that core idea and he's improved on it. That's what I think remakes should do. Take something that wasn't too good the first time and improve on it. Not just remake something for the sake of it.
Oh, it would be a really nice idea. Come up with a new story.
Well, there is that too, but
Or would that cost too much money for
that
Disney?
Is the problem with Disney now, isn't it? They don't make anything original anymore. I personally think they should fire. Do they even have writers anymore?
Well, this is a big question right now. This is a big question.
What happened to all that talent that wrote these classic stories from our childhood?
Are they valued?
Clearly
and are
not.
they valued by those that do have an agenda? Are they, is that the only way to move forward as a writer at the moment in this time? Because if you're a writer, it's not about the storytelling, it's about the message.
I really can't see what's going to happen with Disney. I can't. I haven't got a clue. They're going to have to hit the reset button sooner or later.
Here's my prediction.
Go.
Disney will continue as they are. Mm-hmm. They will take over cinemas, and you'll have a Disney cinema.
I'm surprised it hasn't happened already.
You will have a Disney Plus where you have a monthly subscription to watch your Disney Plus at home, and then pay a little bit more so you can go to a bigger screen and have a.
But does anyone watch Disney Plus as it is? Aren't they hemorrhaging numbers?
I'm not sure what the figures
money
are.
And numbers.
Clearly streaming is a service that everyone does want. But if the content isn't there, if the storytelling isn't there, if the entertainment isn't there, of course they're going to.
If you build it, they will come. If you don't, they won't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gobsmacked they don't have a Disney, Marvel, Star Wars Cineplex already.
And it's like those kind of storytelling independent films are getting very, very few and far between as well, aren't they, these days? Because the big blockbuster is overtaking so much.
It's insane how much these films. I mean, look at The Flash. Like that's a massive flop. Instead of putting 300, 500 million into one film, again, all your eggs in one basket and having it. And also, it's not just the cost of the production; it's the marketing, everything. Like you're talking $1 billion. It's insane for a film that's just a bit of eye candy, but ultimately is hollow and has nothing real to say.
Have we got to the point as well where all the stuff that they can sell outside of the film has got so important?
It's the merch,
the merchandise,
merchandising.
Yeah, selling the toys.
Spaceballs, the lunchbox.
Selling the toys has got so important now that if you're into filmmaking, then your road in is very narrow.
Here's an idea. Instead of spending 500 million on one film, use 500 million and make 200 films. Use independent directors, indie directors. I think that some of the best films I've seen the last sort of 5, maybe even 10 years have been indie movies that have just come out of nowhere, released onto whatever platform.
The last independent film, closest thing I filter an independent film? Can we say it was Beau is Afraid?
I haven't seen it yet.
You still haven't seen it?
No.
Okay. I need you to see that before we have the conversation.
Okay.
Really.
It's on my list.
I haven't made my mind up yet if I like the film.
Well, that means you did. Well, if you're still thinking about it,
I'm still thinking.
That means even if you ultimately decide you hated it, it warranted your viewing because you're thinking.
I'm still thinking. Yeah. I genuinely, and you know what? That is my initial thing that brought me into loving films. You'd watch that film. Once you come away,
you turn it off, and then you start scratching your head.
You're still going.
Yeah.
You're still going. What? Or like, and yeah, how? And you just don't get that anymore, do you?
No.
Everything is just thrown at you.
You don't leave Avengers Endgame, as good as that little trilogy of Avengers film was, and go, wow, that was thought-provoking. Once it's done, it's done. And you just think, wow, that was a spectacle. And that's it. It doesn't leave you with any sort of philosophical feelings, or it's just big blue spaceman versus the Avengers. Do you know what I'm saying? It's just...
Yeah.
What's that? A24 production company. Yes, they put out some really good content.
And they are going more down the independent new filmmakers route, aren't they, as a studio?
The problem with this also is these big studios grab these small indie directors and then throw them into directing a Marvel film, and then their careers get shot.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I get why these people go because of cha-ching. You know, you're not going to turn down a $3 million paycheck or whatever absurd amount of money gets thrown their way. But I just wish it wasn't.
And so, what do you think about? Right now, you've got the writer strike going on, and you've got the actor strike going on. And so, as a movie lover, what is your take on that? Because as a movie lover and consumer, there is inevitably going to be a pause.
Good. Because, how to word it, maybe someone will wake up. Because what's the point of them not having the strike and just this endless stream of shit films? I'd rather them be a stop, a pause, a break, and then these studio execs, this think tank or whatever, again, have a little think about what's going on. Maybe we should try this a different way. I saw recently, I can't think exactly, but it was... like Ryan Reynolds, Clooney, the top Brad Pitt, the A-listers have been given like $1 million each to these causes for these strikes to keep them going so they can last longer. Brilliant. Just keep striking. I'm not in a desperate need for content.
No, there's enough. There's definitely enough out there.
Exactly. Yeah. Go back. There's hundreds of films people haven't watched for the.
And do you know what? I would enjoy that. And actually, I would enjoy it. I've always tried to get my kids to go back and watch older films.
Yeah.
But I think that'd be great for a younger generation that are being bombarded with content to have this opportunity to go back.
We can't relate because we didn't get 20 films released every day.
No, gosh, it's amazing how much the world has changed.
In our
in 40, we're both around our 40s, and within that 40 years, it's gone from being 2 films come out a week at the cinema.
It would take 2 years for something to get released on VHS.
Yeah, you'd wait to go and hire it. You'd be like, oh, people were talking about that last year, and then there'd be a queue up around Blockbusters to hire a film.
And now you've got to wait a week until it's on streaming.
Yeah,
and I think special.
Not even that, is it?
Simultaneous.
Yeah, most films. Cinema seems to have gone back to that like 1 film a week thing because everything else is on streaming.
Yeah, I miss those days. And like you said, it's strange thinking kids these days will never experience that. The simplicity of it. You think...
And the joy we got from it. The joy we got from going out and watching a film in a community environment like a cinema, that was special, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was...
It was an event.
It was an event.
Or even going to Blockbusters on a Friday night.
Yeah.
Actually,
and going around and picking up all the... You'd have the videos that in your hand, and you'd look around and you'd read the cases, and you'd
choose what popcorn you're going to have.
And now it's just sit on a chair, pick the remote up.
Yeah. Well, you'd spend the entire runtime of the film trying to pick what you're going to watch.
So a film used to be an experience, an event, whereas now
it's a bit of a chore.
And hence why you turn on Netflix and you scroll.
Yeah.
And you just scroll.
And by the time you decide it's time to go to bed.
It's time to go to sleep because you're bored, you've had enough.
Yeah.
And yeah. And it's kind of quite... Yeah, you might occasionally still find one or two good films out there. But...
It's hard to find a diamond in the rough. There's so much crap out there. It is hard to find a gem because it's just drowned by all the other cheap, nasty rubbish.
So whatever happened to our movie making career? Where did that start? Monkey spotting?
Yeah.
Where did that end?
Monkey spotting. What was it? Film 4 competition?
Yeah, it was a Film 4 competition.
Yeah. Was that our first foray?
Sorry?
Was that our first go at making a short? I think it was. I'm surprised. I thought it would have been something earlier.
Yeah, I've done other things with Jim, hadn't I? And I've done it. But for me and you, that was the first time we picked up the camera. Me, you, and Jim Thompson, who's on the first episode of this podcast.
Yep. Good old Jimbo.
We came across there was this competition on Channel 4.
Scene stealers.
Scene stealers. You had to take a scene from a movie,
yeah.
and they gave you a list of movies.
Mm-hmm.
You had to pick one of the Film 4 movies.
Yeah.
And they gave you a list, and you had to take a scene and retell it in your own way.
Mm-hmm.
And so we picked Trainspotting.
Of course. I can't think of what else was on the list, to be honest.
And, mainly British movies was on the list.
It was, yeah.
But Trainspotting was quite hardcore, and I got a huge love for Trainspotting. Great soundtrack, great film, great directing, great storytelling.
Good actors.
Yeah, everything about it was brilliant. Of its time as well. It was a film, a 2-hour film, that told you what it was like to live in the mid-90s.
Oh, it's rough. It's a rough watch.
Yeah.
But I think it's an important film.
Oh, definitely. And, there was a lot of talk around that film at the time when that came out. I remember, this is advocating drug use. And he's like, you have not
doing
watched the film.
Complete opposite.
If you think that film is advocating drug use, you have not watched it.
No.
You've looked at the cover maybe, but you've not watched it.
If I had kids, I think I'd show it to them to do the opposite of advocate.
And this goes back to actually about the messages that we were talking about, the agenda within a film. So that film had an agenda.
Yeah.
Anti-drug
use.
Yeah, to warn you, this is how bad your life will be if you go down the route dealing with drugs. Yeah. But it didn't do it like they're doing. Now the messages aren't like that. Now the message is different.
Everything's got a layer of cotton wool around it now, I find.
So going back, so Trainspotting was a wonderfully made film, impactful. And if you haven't seen it, see it. If you're old enough, because it is graphic. But yeah, so going back to what we were doing, we were taking a scene from Trainspotting and reinterpreting
with
it with puppets. And so we took the final scene of the film and got some monkey puppets and a lion puppet and did the final scene.
Smashing plates against your bedroom wall.
Yeah, around I just moved into my place at that time, so my house was looking a bit rough, half done wallpaper and things. So it actually fit the bill for the film as well.
For a drug den.
For a drug den, it actually looked like a drug den. But we spent the day, playing with puppets and cameras and trying to work out what we were doing, and it got really. We entered it into the competition. And we were getting some amazing feedback.
Yeah.
People were, normal people that were going onto the Film 4 website and commenting were loving our scene.
Some good feedback.
And we were like, oh shit, are we in for a chance with this? Are we in for a chance? And yeah, I remember that our film had the most comments of general public commenting on it, having watched it. But we didn't get even in the top 10.
No.
From the critics and the people that were voting and saying these were the best ones. So there was some fun and enjoyment in there.
It was a laugh.
Yeah.
If we'd got somewhere, great. But it, harking back to what we were saying, earlier, it was just actually doing it that was the fun for me.
It was, yeah. I'm gonna go and find it, and I'm gonna be sharing that.
Oh, Christ. Watching it back now, I'm my own worst enemy. Yeah. I'm gonna critique this.
Oh
podcast.
yeah. It was three guys mucking around with puppets.
There's so many little bits where he's like,
but that was the beauty of it, though. Where a hand, where we're picking up the banana
with the money.
Yeah,
and you can see like my hand or your hand.
or like the bananas on like the end of a coat hanger because he can't quite hold it.
That's some good moments.
Yeah, but we spent a day being creative, and trying to achieve something. Create some good memories at the same time.
Exactly, it's the journey, not the destination.
Yeah, and let's think of another film that we can make like that. I think I definitely want to do that again because that must have been at least 10 years ago now.
Yeah, I would think so. Well, it's still on YouTube, so we can find out.
Yeah, we'll find it. Find it on YouTube, and I shall be.
I think we need to do a scene of Ghostbusters, personally.
Why haven't we?
Well, exactly. It's not like we don't have the equipment.
So why have you got the equipment, Tony? Tell me about that. So when you say equipment,
yeah,
what equipment do you have?
Oh, all of it. Proton pack, 2 of them. Ghost traps, multiples, all the belts, gizmos, gadgets, all of it.
So you're a fully kitted out Ghostbuster.
I am a 41-year-old, well, soon to be 41-year-old, fully kitted out Ghostbuster. You can ask questions.
I'm going to start with a really simple one, and don't take this the wrong way.
I'll try not to.
Why?
Harkens back to just enjoying making stuff. Crikey. I think about 10 years ago, 8 or 9 years ago, I thought, God, I've always wanted a proton pack. Just to hang on my wall, because it's a cool thing. Love the film. I'm an 80s kid. So I thought, I'm going to build one. And I did. And it took me 2 years to find out how to do it. Because basically, about 10 years ago, there were some people that have made them online, but there wasn't a great deal of information about specs, plans, what parts you need to buy, all that kind of stuff. But now there's just endless stream of information and groups, Facebook groups and forums. So the information's out there now. So yeah, I built a few of them. And instead of hanging it on my wall, I joined up with a local group of cosplayers called the Essex Ghostbusters and have been with them ever since. And a couple of times a year, go and do events, raise money for charity, Comic-Cons, and so.
So do you think at any point when you were younger, you looked ahead, you went, when I'm 40, I'm going to be a Ghostbuster?
Yes, absolutely.
And what do you think that 8-year-old, let's say, you was 8 years old?
Yeah.
You say I'm you, 8 years old.
Yeah.
What would you say to them about that?
I'd say that's cool. I've actually got a picture of me as a 6-year-old wearing a proton pack made out of cardboard and vacuum cleaner hose. And yeah, I think I'd say to myself, that's cool. Yeah, I embrace it. It's good fun. Big kid at heart, always have been, always will be.
And the creativity that you put into these things that you make, like the proton pack, you don't just get some cardboard boxes together.
No.
And create some kind of shell.
No.
This is full on
better than film accurate.
Better than film accurate.
Yeah. Lights and sound.
This is if a proton pack works.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, what's a proton pack, Tony?
It's a unlicensed nuclear accelerator. Or a positron collider, depending on how you look at it.
If you had a real one of those, you make it to spec.
Yes.
Without the nuclear.
Correct.
That's literally...
You don't just go into a drugstore and buy some plutonium, basically, yeah.
That's the only bit...
Yeah.
The quote from Back to the Future there, just wedged in. Lovely.
Thank you.
But you've got everything, haven't you? You've got the traps, the goggles...
Yeah. You can't just go in half measures.
It's a passion of yours.
Yeah, I like again. It goes like the 3D printing stuff. I like building things. I like creating something from nothing.
And the other guys that you're involved with this, guys and girls, and dogs. I see there's Ghostbusting dogs.
We have Ghostbusting dogs involved. Yeah.
So there's a real community, isn't there? There's a real community of people that do this.
especially since the newer film a few years ago, it's massive. I won't start talking about the 2016 one.
Why not?
I don't think we've got enough time because I just very briefly, it's got nothing to do with women or being sexist. I just thought it was a piece of unwarranted garbage that had no merit. It was just a cash grab, and it hurt what is special to me. That film's special to me, and I know it is yourself.
Yeah. To put it simply, it felt like the people that put that film together didn't even watch the original.
They didn't give a shit.
They may have looked at the products.
It was a cash grab, completely unnecessary and an insult. But anyway, moving on. Yeah, I thought the Afterlife film was okay. Again, I don't think it needed to exist, but I think it had some heart, and I think it felt tied to the original. You know, Ivan Reitman's son directed it, Jason Reitman. So yeah, it had some heart. Good seeing the guys back. But did it need to get made? No, not really. It's been too long. I think the original, I quite like Ghostbusters 2. I think it's pretty good, but it's not a patch on the first one. And it's just a product of its time, like a lot of it, like Indiana Jones, like a lot of these films. They're trying to, you know, rehash and re-equalise or reboot, whatever you want to call it nowadays. It can only exist in the time that it was made. Then trying to do it out of that time, it's just going to flop.
And so, coming back away from movies and back to your Ghostbusters community that you have, what's that like being around other people that share that love and interest?
90% of the time, really good. Really good. 10% of the time, there's some toxic individuals that are there to just cause a scene and be a dick, for no reason. But you get that wherever you go. Anything. But no, it's great. It's great fun. We do, I think, Colchester Invasion. I think that's a couple of weeks' time, actually. I'm not sure if we've got that one on the cards. But I'll let you know. But yeah, no, it's an amazing group. Talking to like-minded people, sharing experiences. You have other groups of other cosplayers, lots of people dressed as Marines and Doctor Who and Harry Potter, just everything. You're all there for the same reason, which is just to be accepted and have a laugh and share your interests.
Share your love for something.
Yeah, I've done MCM Comic Con a couple of times. I've never gone kitted up with the gear because it's just there's too many people there. You're gonna get, you're gonna damage your props, your expensive props that you spent a long time building.
So expensive. What would you? You might not want to say, but how much would you say all this love and interest for Ghostbusters? What's it kind of set you back over the years?
My wife listens to this. No, she's got an idea. Oh, thousands.
Thousands.
Yeah, if you want to get the real deal, and get like a screen accurate, let's just say the pack. Forget all the other bits and bobs, the trap and the jumpsuits and everything, which aren't cheap. The pack, to get it screen accurate, you're looking $2,000 at least. You can 3D print parts, but if you want you can still buy like a lot of the original actual bits and bobs, metal connectors and clippered valves and all those you can still buy those to this day. And if you're a real proper true fan and a proper Ghostbusters cosplay, you want the real bits. You don't want plastic parts on it, because plastic's great and you can paint it and whatnot, but knowing that it's the actual metal bit is worth its weight in gold. So yeah, they're expensive.
And is it worth it? You go that money at £2,000, thousands, not more. Is it worth it to you? No, not to others.
Yes,
to you.
100%. The other great thing is it's hesitant to say like a car, because a lot of cars don't hold their value, but these things do. If you look after it, it holds its value. Those parts get rarer and rarer because they are parts that were made in the 80s. And the longer it goes on, the less and less of those bits are going to be about.
And you're not just buying these things, are you? You're spending time creating them, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're building them from scratch. So yes, you've got to buy the materials, but you sit there and
I've probably put hundreds of hours, man hours, into actually building and sanding and filing and painting and research and gluing and all that kind of stuff. And that's the bit I enjoy. When it's done, I'm kind of sad in a way because it's done. And yeah, I get to wear it for a couple of hours a year, but
I guess kind of you've done the Ghostbuster stuff, you've got things made from that. I guess that's kind of taking us back to the printing, isn't it? That you now can take that love for creating something, and you found a way to turn that into the business.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I know people that have found full-time careers building these packs, and they earn a hell of a lot of money, a fortune. Probably knock 100, 150 of them out a year. But I know how difficult they are to build, and I just haven't got it in me to do that. I don't want to build 100 of them. I put my blood, sweat, and tears into my pack. I don't want to do that for someone else, no matter how much money it costs. I couldn't do it.
It's the love that I
wouldn't put as much passion into it for someone else. Maybe if you or a friend, but as a business, I would get bored so quickly.
Yeah, but doing it for the love feels different.
Yeah.
How would someone get into? Someone doesn't have the money to invest in it. Can they still get into it or not?
There are other options. Hasbro.
I've been a Ghostbuster for a day, haven't I?
Yeah. Most people that just want to do it for a fancy dress or a birthday party, you can get in, fancy dress jumpsuits and blow up proton packs. But if you want something a little bit better, Hasbro. Is that the Barbie company? Hasbro.
Sure.
I know they're Transformers. But anyway, Hasbro do a full size pack that you can buy, which looks pretty damn good. It's all plastic.
And then would you say that once you come into the cosplay community, you'd want to then start spending more money on it? You'd want to upgrade. You'd want to add more to it.
Depends on the individual, their passion, their bank account.
Yeah, of course.
From my personal experience, I haven't cosplayed as anything other than a Ghostbuster because I'm not interested in anything other than cosplaying as a Ghostbuster. Most of it for me is how much of an influence the original film had on me and has throughout my life, and the group of lads, the Essex Ghostbusters, who I'm a member of. I just like spending time with those guys, and we don't get to do it enough anymore, thanks to pandemic. Because there are still events, and also the other thing is we're older, and some of us have kids now. Some of the guys have kids now, so when we do get to meet up, it's great, but it just doesn't happen often. Things change.
Yeah, we get, like you say, we're getting older and responsibilities, but as long as you can try and find a way to keep that as some element of your life.
Yeah, even if I never wear that thing ever again, I can hang on my wall, and as long as I get to see those guys, even if it's down the pub or on a Zoom call or on the phone, that's what's important to me.
So looking forward, what's coming up next for you?
Coming up next? Oh, crikey. To be honest, I just want to see where this printing business takes me.
This is the future.
Yeah, I hope so. If this doesn't work, I'm thinking of what else I can use these machines for, because the utility of these 3D printers is endless. You can pretty much print anything with them, more or less, because the plastic you use, the filament, what these ones are made out of is one type of plastic. There's dozens. Carbon fibre. There's aero filament, which you can use to print like model planes, super light. It's like buoyancy. There's water resistant. There's flexible filament, so you can print stuff like phone cases and rubbery things. So the utility is absolutely almost limitless, I'd say. So if this doesn't work, find something else that does.
I'm sure it will. I'm sure from what I've seen in these very early days, I think you've got a promising future with it.
Yeah, I really enjoy building the models. Built some Robocop models. Again, this all harkens back to stuff from my childhood that interested me as a kid. It's funny how you revert the older you get.
There's something in the nostalgia, isn't there? There's definitely some...
It just stays with you.
Some form of comfort. Can't quite see it on the camera or hear it on the podcast. But even within where we are now, in my space we are now, my shed.
Your man den.
It's filled with nostalgia, isn't it? Yeah. Above your heads. It's got all my toys.
It's like a comforter, isn't it? For a grown up, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I didn't.
Oh, did you not even spot?
No, I didn't
spot the hero turtle.
Oh, I've got the models for these. So I can print you a full size one.
No, I will be putting in an order for sure.
Yeah, please do. Because what's cool is, as I was saying earlier to you, that although the print bed is limited in size, you can scale up things.
Yeah.
So if we scaled up your Ninja Turtle figure to life size, you think, how would that fit on the bed? Well, you just chop the model up into pieces, into quarters,
and like kind of
glue it all together.
Put it together. Like they do in the factories, like they do with any model, basically.
Yeah. You can put, say you sliced his head in half. On the software, you can actually put, have pegs and divots, so when you glue it, everything just slots back together.
Yeah.
It's absolutely brilliant. I love it.
Any films you're looking forward to at the moment? This goes back to where the industry is in trouble.
Yeah.
There would have been a period in our life where we'd have been able to name 10 films.
Yeah, I'm struggling to think of one, Martin. What's his name? Robert Eggers. Do you know him?
No.
It's a remake actually, which I'm surprised about. Robert Eggers' Nosferatu, starring Bill Skarsgård. Yeah, a remake of the 1922 Nosferatu.
Didn't they do that with William Dafoe?
That was Shadow of the Vampire.
Yeah.
Which was not. That was kind of a behind the scenes story of Nosferatu, if my memory serves me right. I'm sure if Paul is watching, he'll either slap me or shake my hand in remembrance. But yeah, Robert Eggers, man, he did The Witch. I don't know if you ever saw that. If you didn't, I'm not
recording it right now.
Slap you after this. And he did another one with Robert Pattinson and you just said his name. William Dafoe, called The Lighthouse.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, same director.
Okay, that should be
quite visionary, unique. Good. But that's about it. I can't really, like you said, a few years ago, it'd be like, oh, this. Now it's just there's nothing.
Maybe we'll do more of that going back. We'll look back at what film are you looking forward to revisit?
To revisit?
Yes. What's a revisit film?
For me.
In this time ahead that we're going to have this, we're probably going the industry's going to slow down a bit. Where are you going to go and revisit? I came up with one that's slightly off kilt.
Go on.
Last night actually, I was sitting there watching TV, and I was like, do you know what? I miss a good comedy. I haven't seen a good comedy in a while. And then I thought, what comedies did I like? Police Academy.
Yeah, the first one at least.
But I would go with the first three for me.
Any of them
got silly after that. With
Zed. Yeah, Bobcat Goldthwait.
Right. Okay. and then it just kind of it went off on a tangent, didn't it? Of just being stupid.
Yeah.
But it was the first 2 or 3 films were very good and very funny. And
Citizens on Patrol, which I think might have even been the first assignment. I think it was Citizens on Patrol. But yeah, I agree. The first 3, Sweet Chuck and the rest.
Yeah, we'll go back and revisit some police academies. What about horrors?
There's too many.
A horror that you haven't seen for a while that you need to rewatch.
The thing is, once I've seen a film, whether I think it was good or not, it's kind of just in the bank.
Yeah.
Joe can rewatch, my wife Joe can, let's watch this film, and it's like we watched it 2 weeks ago, and then we watched it 6 months. Like that's fine. She finds comfort in just repeat viewings. I like even films I absolutely adore. I can only watch maybe once or twice a year. I'm always craving like the next high, the next hit. I always want to see something I haven't watched. But going back to a classic horror, oh god, it depends. There's so many subgenres. That's a hard question, man.
Okay, I want you to have a think about that.
I'll have a think.
In the meantime, what horror should I watch?
What horror should you watch? You're a bit of a lightweight, aren't you?
I am a lightweight, yeah.
You need a bit. Of
I like a horror if it's a sci-fi. So for me, Alien, Aliens, Predator. That's kind of horror.
There's a new Alien film coming out.
Yeah, that
Romulus.
Is there? Oh,
but it's by a good director though this time.
Okay.
Not that Ridley Scott's a bad director, but I think his last 2 Alien films were a big misstep. Yeah.
That's why it doesn't fill me with excitement.
No.
You saying that.
Fede Alvarez. I can't think what else he's done, but he's a good director. I'm intrigued, cautiously optimistic.
Yes. That's how I feel we're approaching most films these days.
Yeah, it takes a lot to wow me now, or to get me excited in a movie sense.
Yes.
It's normally something that's come out of left field that you know, wasn't expecting to be good or to impress you. But I'm struggling. You put me on the spot with those. I'll have to have a thick.
So let's wrap this up now.
Sure. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, it's been pretty good, hasn't it? Actually,
it's been a good one.
Good conversation. Very insightful, Tony. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
No, it's been a pleasure. I'm very grateful, and I look forward to doing this again with you soon. And I think in a moment, let's chat about how we're going to make Ghostbusters film, because I like the idea of that.
You've got the camera.
Yeah.
I've got the proton pack.
Let's film it.
Let's do it. Let's make it happen.
Deal. Done. Thanks,
Cheers,
Tony.
Man. No,
Appreciate
it's been
it.
a pleasure. Thank you.
Well, that was Tony Silver. Thank you for joining me on today's episode, Tony. I hugely appreciate your courage from coming and sitting down in the Fortress of Solitude, being interrogated by me. I don't think I was too hard with the questions. It felt more like a conversation. But yet within that conversation, I am convinced, and I think you should be by now, that yes, you are a creative. Go check out Tony's business, Silversnapz. The link will be in the bio wherever you find this podcast. And thank you again